Welcome, welcome. My name is Rachel, and I'm the CEO of MindStrong Fitness, a multi-six-figure, soon-to-be seven-figure, purely online company that I grew 400% in under 8 months. And the purpose of this content is to teach you to do the exact same thing, but in much less time. So today, we are talking about how to completely sell out your coaching program. And listen, there are a million ways that you can structure your coaching program. I'm not here to preach from the mountaintops that my way or the highway, and this is the only way that works. But I will tell you that from experience, many of you have heard my story before if you listen to past content, that it took us about 3.5 years of falling on our face, of tweaking and adjusting. And once we found that formula where things clicked, that's when our business exploded that 400% in under 8 months. So as I said in the intro, the purpose of this content is that the teacher in me, I was a teacher for over 15 years before starting MindStrong Fitness. The teacher in me lives off the belief that if I can help someone learn way faster than I did and start helping more people and scale their business exponentially, that is what we're here to do. So when I say the 3 keys to selling out your business, I am going to tell you that these will work. If you put them into play and you have a business that's effective, you've learned to set nutrition plans effectively, you know what you're doing. Granted that I'm taking for granted that you know what you're doing within your coaching business, and we have plenty of content to help you if you need help with that part. But assuming that all of the logistics are in place, by making the 3 switches that we're going to talk about today or tweaking them depending on your current structure, this is how you will sell out your program every single time you launch. Now, if you are brand new to the coaching business, what do I mean when I say every time you launch? When you launch, it basically means when your cart opens, right? If you have a business where every time, if you're taking clients all the time, which is one of the first, and spoiler alert, one of the first things we're going to talk about today, then you don't really have a launch. You just have year-round open enrollment, which I do not suggest, and we're going to talk about in a second. If you have a coaching program or online programs or whatever your structure looks like, and it's not open year round, the day that your cart opens, the build up to that cart opening, the build up to enrollment opening, that is called your launch. So let's dive into the 3 keys to selling out your program. And the first one is exactly what we were just talking about. I do not believe in open enrollment. And here's why. Think about you're scrolling through the Amazon app, right? And you see something that kind of piques your interest and it looks pretty cool. So you spend a few minutes searching it and reading the reviews and looking at the pictures. And then what do? We add it to our cart and we leave it indefinitely. Maybe we buy it one day, maybe we don't. Maybe it just sits in the save for later items. But in those rare instances where we see like a 24-hour flash sale or a discount for whatever line or 2 left, right? Limited quantity, we're hitting the buy now button. There is no save for later because we know this is a limited time option. And this is the same thing that happens with your coaching programs. If people know that they can hire you year round, what is their motivation to sign up right now, right? People need a reason why, especially in this field of health and fitness, where it's such a sensitive topic. People have tried and failed more times than they can count. They don't really believe it's going to work yet. They need to see some proof. They need a reason to enroll right now. And the best way you can do that is by not offering open enrollment. If they want to get in, they need to get in now. The way we do that within my own company, MindStrong Fitness, is our signature 12-week program, which is called MindStrong Ignite, only opens every 12 weeks. So our launch, as you may have heard me talk about before, is we do a free 5-day challenge called MindStrong Kickstart. That leads up to the cart open. That is our launch. Then Ignite opens up. It is only open for a week and a half. So if you need to think about it, if you need to get your finances in order, you have a week and a half to make that decision, because after that, the cart is closed and you can't get into Ignite until 12 weeks from now. And I can't promise that the investment level is going to be the same in 12 weeks, because every time we sell out, like any business, our prices typically go up, not all the time, but typically go up. So people need a reason to buy, and they need a reason to buy now. And one of the biggest incentives you can give them is by stop doing open enrollment. It's by creating hype, which we're going to talk about next, so that when the doors do open, the floodgates open and people sign up for your program. Which leads to key number 2 to selling out your program. Create a wait list. And listen, everything we're talking about right now, we're talking about human psychology, right? These are not Rachel's laws of business. These are not Rachel's laws of sales. This is basic human psychology, which is, we could call it the psychology of selling, but the psychology of selling is human psychology. People get emotionally invested when there is hype around things, right? If you know that you can open up that Amazon app anytime you want, or walk into a store anytime you want and buy a product, there's not much hype around it. right? It's there for you anytime you want it. But if you're on the wait list for that new iPhone and you're getting email updates that you're 2 weeks away, you're seeing commercials that it's a week away, that hype is building. And the second you can grab that thing, you are going to grab it. So if you take advantage of key number one and you stop offering your program year round, right? If you're only open every 12 weeks, every 8 weeks, every 16 weeks, whatever works for you, you can't just leave people hanging because you're going to lose them. If they go to your page and they see, oh, Ignite's not open right now, I got to wait. If your plan is to wait for them to come back 12 weeks from now, you already lost them, right? Your business is your center of your world. It's not true for your potential clients. So how do we create that hype? How do we get them chomping at the bit so when your program does open, they're ready to jump right in? And we do that by creating a wait list. So when they go to the Ignite sales page and they say, hey, enrollment only opens 12 weeks, it's currently closed, here's the timer, here's the countdown to how long you have to wait, get on our wait list and be the first to know because they get advance notice when it's opening. Now what we do is they are getting emails building up to that launch, and all it is doing is creating hype. Here's what's coming up in Ignite. You don't want to miss this. This is what we're going to teach you. Are you ready? And we're just building, building, building. So when that cart comes, they're ready and they're chomping at the bit. The floodgates open and we sell out. Now, the third key we've talked about in depth. In fact, there's a whole episode dedicated just to this key. So if you haven't watched it, I suggest you go back and watch it. And that's that we never discount our prices. Now, again, when I say that, I'm talking about our signature 12-week program. If we have smaller price items, if they're self-paced courses, if they're cookbooks, if they're nutrition made easy bundles in our business, yeah, sure, that stuff we discount because that is not our bread and butter. Those lower price items have different purposes. When we are talking about our signature 12-week program, we're talking about one-to-one coaching. When we're talking about the investment of time and energy from the coach's end, we don't ever discount our prices. And this goes into this whole idea we've been talking about timed launches, about creating wait lists, about creating hype, right? If getting into your program is a huge deal because it only opens 12 weeks, because you've been on this wait list creating hype, you don't need to offer a discount. Now, there are ways to set this up where, some companies choose to offer, if you get on the wait list, it locks in a price for you, whereas when it opens to the public at a different time. In my eyes, that is very different. That is not a discount. That's an incentive to get on your wait list. We personally, we don't do that. If you're on our wait list, or if you sign up when it opens to the public, as of the time of this recording, it's the same price. The difference is if you're on the wait list, you get first dibs. So knowing that our program sells out, of course you want to be on the wait list because you want to get access to it a day before everyone else because it's going to sell out at some point. So whether or not you offer different price points is a different conversation, but that is very different than a discount. And again, if you want a deeper conversation about why we don't offer discounts, there's a whole episode dedicated just to that. But the main takeaway is that we don't ever want to cheapen the service that we're offering. And especially when you're not doing open enrollment, it doesn't make sense, right? We don't need people waiting for discount. We need them to be waiting for the cart open. Now, there's one more big picture that I want to talk about this. So the 3 keys to selling out are to never have open enrollment, right? To only do set launches at set times, to create a wait list for that program so that you're creating hype until the floodgates open, and to never discount. Now, I recognize fully that if you are a newer business, if you're a younger business, it is petrifying to not have open enrollment. And I'm saying this from experience. When I first started MindStrong Fitness and when I first started Ignite, it spent almost 2.5, almost 3 years as open enrollment. It was one-to-one coaching. It was directly with me. I didn't have other coaches, and you could sign up anytime you wanted. And I will, for as long as I live, I will never forget the first launch we did where enrollment was closed and you had to wait 12 weeks to sign up with me. It was petrifying. It was honestly probably to this day, the scariest moment in my business because the what ifs fly in, right? And they're very normal. These are not illogical what ifs. What if I'm turning people away and then no one signs up, right? What if I've just said no to all this income for the last 12 weeks and then I open the cart and nobody signs up? Now I've just shot myself in the foot. But and those are all very valid. When I'm saying but, that is not to negate that. Those are feelings that you are going to have the first time you do this. And I'm telling you from experience, I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul, because once we made the shift, that was it. Once I got over that fear and I was able to do the mindset work of, okay, let's just try it, right? Worst case, it bombs and then I can follow out one-to-one people. I can get them and we can always undo this. But let me just try it. That was the moment that changed our business. And I've talked about this before. If I could attribute one thing that was that massive shift that grew our business 400% in 8 months. It was this. It was the combination of group coaching and getting rid of open enrollment, because exactly what I'm talking about is what happened. By the time those 12 weeks opened, we did such a good job of creating that wait list, creating that hype, that it was like the floodgates opening, and we did sell out, and our business grew exponentially, and we have never gone back from there. This is how we do things. This is how, as of the time of this recording, I always plan to do things. And any other branch of our company or other program that we've launched since then has always been the same way, because this works. And it's going to be scary as hell the first time you do it. So just know that if you're feeling that fear around it, if you're listening to me and you're like, Rachel, you're telling me to turn potential money away, the answer is yes. And when done correctly, it will work, and future you will thank you for this. So if you are not doing these things already, I highly encourage you to start putting them into play. Get rid of open enrollment. Decide what works for you. Maybe it's every 6 weeks, maybe it's every 12 weeks, maybe it's every 16 weeks. You don't want to, if you're doing launches every 2 weeks, you're negating the point of it, right? We need to build hype around it. If you're waiting too long, that depends on your audience. There are coaches out there that only launch once a year. That's pretty ballsy. Like at once a year, you have to know that you have hundreds and thousands, maybe millions of followers who are chomping at the bit. We're not there yet as of the time of this recording. For us, every 12 weeks is a good fit, specifically because Ignite is every 12 weeks. When you switch to set launches, not open enrollment, you can't just leave people hanging. The point of this is to create that hype, and you do that through a wait list. You do that through what's called a nurture system, is getting your email sequences in play, making sure your social media game's on point. So you're building hype. And then most of all, we never discount. And again, there's a whole episode on that, of why we never offer those discounts. And it's an important piece to this puzzle. If you start putting these three things into play, again, it's going to be scary as hell in the beginning. If you can face that fear, if you can do that mindset work, or when you do that mindset work, you are going to watch your business grow exponentially.